My journey as a content creator was anything but easy, and I spent the majority of my waking hours creating content and trying to make stuff that worked. But it didn't, until I started employing these things that I feel will make the biggest difference to you as a content creator. And you can see right here in my channel where this massive difference happened, and it started working a hell of a lot better. So I'm gonna share that map with you guys right now so that you can start fighting in the right direction to get out of the jungle. To start this off with the most honest intro and to stick with the rest of the theme of this entire video is this. Becoming a content creator is incredibly hard. It might be one of the hardest things that you ever do, and anyone that tells you different is most likely lying or trying to sell you some course that promises that it's gonna be super easy. But I think accepting the fact that things can be incredibly difficult is a good thing. Now, that doesn't mean that the harder, the better. And if you're kind of stuck in the jungle and fighting with everything you've got to get out of the jungle, but you're going in the wrong direction, that's not gonna be beneficial either. You need some sort of map to help you actually know the way that you are going to be getting out of the jungle. And when you do have that map, then it's time to start fighting with everything you've got, because you're going to be going in the right direction to get results. It feels like people always have this feeling that their journey is taking a lot longer than it should. And I think it has a lot to do with comparing yourself to the people around you. Because the people that you're exposed to, that you're comparing yourself to, that you feel have made it, whether that's having a lot of clients or building up an audience on a social platform, it's most likely that you're only seeing the final 10% of their journey. Because everything else that happened long before then, you weren't exposed to because they hadn't made it yet. So there would have been no way of you seeing the rest of that 90% of that journey, of the struggles and how long it actually took them to get there. There are so many people that are in that phase, the 90% that you haven't seen yet, that are going to make it. And you could be in that phase right now, but it doesn't seem all glamorous and like you're achieving as much or as quickly as the people that you're exposed to are. So just remember, you could be in the 10 years that people don't see to become that big overnight success. And that's a really nice and inspiring way to see it, because it means that you can be in one of the people that are in the shit right now that are going to make it, but just haven't yet. Things take long, and often a lot longer than people expect them to take, and that's totally fine. But when you're sitting around and you're comparing yourself to your favorite creators, or maybe saying, I want to be like that, I want to do these things that they're doing, that's cool, but you can't compare yourself to where they are now and jump straight to that finish line. You need to think about what they might have been doing a year ago, 3 or 5 years ago, that got them to where they are now. They started somewhere, likely in a similar position to where you are now, and then it was a long, slow progression with very little exposure to get them to where they are now. But you can't just jump straight to that finish line. Go back to the beginning and realize that you're in that phase. You can't just skip that entire process. You know, I'm super fine with things being hard, because every battle you face now, everything that you do that feels super hard, means that anyone else that wants to follow in your steps is going to have to go through the same battle. And the people in front of you that you're striving to be more like or achieve the same success had to go through the same things as well. So lean into it being hard. The harder it is, the less people that are going to be able to follow in your footsteps anyway. You ever see one of your favorite creators post a video and the topic might not even be something that you're that interested in, but you immediately click on the video, watch it, maybe before it's even happened, you click like or save. I think that's largely down to a reputation that that creator upholds within your mind. Now, the thing is that it's super important for us to create this reputation with any of the people that are potentially going to be watching any of our videos. One of the reasons this is so important is because when you initially publish content, YouTube tests it out on your main subscriber base, and they see what kind of feedback the subscribers that are a part of your channel are giving. And if only a few of them click and watch a large portion of that video, YouTube's going to go, maybe this wasn't the best video. We're not going to push it to that next big broad audience and potentially get more views. They're going to kind of hold it off there. On the opposite end of the scale, if YouTube sees that your initial audience is extremely engaged and there's a high click-through rate, meaning that the people see that video and click on it, because of your reputation, they're going to push it to a much larger audience and test it out to more people and see if it continues to get more growth. And your initial audience is going to be clicking on those videos because they know that you have that reputation built up in their mind. For me, I know that there's a few creators that when they post something, it's very likely that I'm going to click on it and watch it, regardless of what the video is, because I know in past experience, every time I've clicked on one of their videos, they withhold a certain standard of quality or value or anything else that you enjoy about their content. And for the most part, I generally watch them the whole way through, or at least a large section of it. So how do we actually do that in our content? Now that isn't a question that I can just answer in the most simplest terms, but I think there are certain techniques we can do to position ourselves in that way as best as possible. That unspoken contractual agreement between you and the viewer when you create a thumbnail and title promising them something that they're going to get out of that video, that is something that needs to really exceed all of their expectations in terms of what they're going to get from that video. What value can they gain? And whether that's in the form of extreme high quality, if you're creating beautiful masterpieces of work, or it's over delivering on the value of education, no matter what your topic or video structure is, or the value that you're giving to the person, you need to maintain your reputation by giving them way more than they bargained for when they signed the contract and clicked on that thumbnail. The other thing is we need to create addictive content. We need to have the viewer feel like when they're watching your videos, it's super easy to watch the entire video through. By the end of it, they kind of want more. They want to see another thing. They want to binge watch some of your other videos. You are going to really limit your chances if you feel like by the end of your videos, or if people don't even make it to the end of your videos, they're kind of clicking off. They're like, yeah, it was okay. It's offered me some cool things, but at the end of the day, I just go spend my time somewhere else on this platform. Even if they're subscribed to you, that also is going to kill the chance of next time when you upload something, they are less likely to click on it because of that reputation from your previous video. So figure out to the best of your ability how you can absolutely master the art of creating addictive content. A lot of my other videos on my channel go through this in more detail, but you really need to ensure that each and every piece of content that you're creating is as Moorish as it possibly can be, so that people stick around and watch it and click on it the next time you upload something. I think one of the things I absolutely miss the most while I'm traveling is this van. I got some really exciting plans for some trips and different things I'm going to be doing to the van. It's all going to be on the vlog channel if you guys want to find out more. But the next thing I wanted to discuss is playing in your own field. If you try and compete with the huge guys, the huge creators out there, it's going to be very difficult. You might get a small runoff on your latest iPhone 15 review from channels like MKBHD or whatever, but it's going to just be a trickle. And it's not a terrible idea, and that can work, it can help a bit, but it's never going to, I'm going on 4x4 road here, but it's never really going to take you to the level that you want to be, or to be playing on equal fields as those bigger creators. So instead of doing something like creating a video that's the new iPhone 15 Pro, you need to put your own little spin on it, maybe your own little creative thing within that video, so that you have a little bit more of a specific target. Maybe like the 10 best accessories for the new iPhone 15 Pro, or maybe it's an iPhone 15 Pro review from a filmmaker's perspective. But putting your own little spin on it and playing within your own field can be very beneficial when you are one of the smaller channels, because no matter what you're doing, if I see a video that's an iPhone 15 Pro review, one has 300,000 views and the other has 3,000 views, I'm almost every time going to click on the 300,000 views over the small channel one. It's kind of an unfortunate truth, but it is the way that it works. What's your style? There's infinite ways that you can create content when it comes to the style that you do and the look and feel to the video, the way that you put them together. Are they super raw or are they super cinematic? How do you actually build out these videos and what do they feel like when someone watches them? There's kind of infinite approaches, and when you're just starting out, I feel like it's nice to not be too specific, and when you're that fresh, just explore a little bit. Maybe you're doing like kind of vlog things, but then you're doing some cinematic style videos, and it's gonna give you a bigger and broader skill range, so that later on down the line, when you do start to niche down, you have a better idea of how all of the other aspects of filmmaking work, and you don't just like fully lock into only being able to vlog, but then you have no idea how to create something cinematic. But as your journey progresses, I do feel like it's a nice idea to kind of find your own specific style and really try to get better and master that. That's also going to help with your reputation, because anyone that clicks on one of your videos has a better idea of what they're going to be getting, instead of this week it's going to be a super raw vlog and then next week it's going to be this crazy super edited cinematic video. It's fine to mix them up a bit, but it is nice to have a continuous thread throughout all of your content, just to help the viewers know what they're going to be kind of getting when they do click on one of your videos. If you're finding any of these tips useful, this is just a chip of what's shared in the YouTuber program. The waitlist is available right now. It's a super limited exclusive program because I work one-on-one with everyone that is inside of it, but we go into so much detail on every aspect of the creator journey, from the beginning to what will someday be a success. So the link's going to be down below. I was going to do my tips outside, but it's cold, and I would rather sit in the van or take you guys back home. The next thing is going to be stealing for inspo. And when people hear steal, they immediately go like, what? You can't steal, you need to be original, you need to be authentic. And what I'm talking about is learning from other people's success. If you find content that you like and you try and replicate it or copy it in your own way, it is by far one of the best ways that you can learn how people achieved something that you want to do. If you copy someone else's video that you love the look of or the feeling of when you watch it, by trying to replicate it, it's the easiest way of breaking down what it actually took them to create that piece of content. Because you break it down, you see, oh, maybe they did a bit of this, maybe they did a bit of that, and then you start trying to implement those same things into your piece of content, and you see what kind of works, what helped you achieve that same look and feeling, and you can keep going up and down within that process. But by copying someone more experienced than you, it is one of the best ways that you can learn, and a large reason why in some of my tutorial videos I do these super raw, uncut style videos of creating like some cinematic shots or something, because it gives you that insight into seeing exactly how I do it without any of the like nonsense added or anything. And if you can do that on your own by trying to copy someone and create the thing that you see in their videos, that is extremely beneficial. Even if you directly try to carbon copy the other person's piece of content, which isn't what I'm suggesting to do, it's still not going to end up exactly the same as theirs. It's going to be your own spin on that piece of content, because it's going to be you presenting it in your own way. It's going to be you capturing the shots. It's going to be your personality. It's going to be your own unique spin on it. So even if you did try to completely steal and replicate or carbon copy someone else's piece of content, it's incredibly unlikely that you're going to end up with something that is exactly the same as theirs. My next piece of advice is going to be repetition. For me, the creative process always starts by having a vision or something that I have in my mind that I want to achieve when I start creating it. And in reality, the thing that I create compared to the initial vision that I had in my mind are worlds apart. They're completely different things from each other. But the best way that you can bring these two different things closer together, the thing in your mind that you would like to create and the actual reality or the outcome of the thing it is that you're trying to create, is by repetition. Because when you go out and you create something and then you come back and you start to edit it or look at how it actually ends up looking, it gives you an idea of what kind of doesn't align, what you could further change to make your vision and initial idea match closer, to close that gap of what your actual outcome looks like. And you can keep repeating that process, and every time you do that, it should, in theory, get your final product closer to what you envisioned in your mind. And let me just be honest with you for a second and tell you some facts here. The things I create now, even after so long of doing this, still often don't look very similar to what I had in my mind. Sometimes they're a lot worse, probably the majority of the time. They're not worse is a harsh word, but they're not as nice or as amazing as I thought they could be. Sometimes they're better, but it's totally fine because you're not creating straight out of your head. You actually have to use what you have at hand to achieve that look. So repeating this process is really going to help you to bring that vision closer together. And if you're ever falling short of it, I think it's really important that you're not too harsh on yourself and that you keep repeating that process. It's like any skill in the entire world. If you want to get better at something, you have to keep doing the thing it is that you're trying to get better at over and over and over again until eventually one day you're happy with where your skill level is. If that ever happens, I don't know. Let's leave it there. In my most brutally honest opinion, if you keep chipping away at each one of these different aspects and trying your best to improve them, there is no way that your content won't get better and your audience or business or filmmaking company, whatever it is, won't grow along with your skill set as you raise it up. So focus on each one of these things. I think one of the biggest things that I didn't go over in this video that will help you to improve any style of content, and probably one of the most important things when it comes to creating content, is script writing. And if you do want to find out a more in-depth kind of analysis of how you should be script writing your videos, I have a whole video on that you can watch right here as well. Other than that, have fun. Bye.